Why are Christian testimonies so important? Well, they demonstrate that Christ is still at work, that he's performing miracles to this very day, and he's transforming lives to the glory of God. More importantly, they should encourage us and build our faith and embolden us to go share the gospel with those around us. In Karen's story, we learn how childhood sexual abuse led her down a path of darkness, one that would lead to an alternative lifestyle. On one sense, she looked perfectly normal to her friends and family members and church as a Christian. And on the other side, a life of drug use and sexual promiscuity, which led her to a path of ultimately despairing of life, considering taking her own life. But then something dramatically changed. When she had hit rock bottom, as she describes it, she heard this, and her life was utterly transformed. Let's hear Karen's story.
You've been told for years that this is your identity. Your whole life, you've been told that this is your identity, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm going to give you a new identity, a new name, a new purpose, a new meaning. Out of darkness into marvelous light. So yeah, my name is Karen. I was born in California, but I've been in Colorado since I was like 2.5. So I got here as fast as I could. I'm not native, but
Were you born in California?
Yeah, I was
What
born
part?
in Long Beach,
Okay.
Lakewood area.
I was too.
Yeah, me and Katie were just
Well, I
talking
was
about
living
it.
in
Yeah.
Long Beach. Yeah, here we
That's
go.
where I grew up.
Yeah, my dad
went to
still
Lakewood High
lives
School.
there. Oh, did you?
My grandma went to Long Beach Poly.
My mom
Like our whole
went
family's from there.
to Long Beach.
What a trip.
I don't know about my dad, but yeah, my dad still lives in Long Beach. My
You
dad
ready
and
for
my
this?
brother.
When my grandmother moved there,
Yeah.
like Compton was the place to be.
Really?
Yeah, Compton, great living.
It was the best. It was like one of the best areas.
Oh, dang.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Her story is funny.
And then
but-
became
That's crazy.
Compton.
And then
Yeah.
it was-
Yeah.
Then it's
It's like
Compton. Yeah.
flipped. Yeah.
But it was like that was like that was the spot.
Yeah, that was like the cool place to be.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's crazy.
I got
A
some
minute
deep
ago.
roots in Long Beach. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys still have any family there? Or?
Not now. No, most of my family has moved away from there. But
Yeah.
at the time when I was growing up there, a lot of my family were there. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, I still have my dad and my brother are there.
Okay.
Yeah, in Long Beach. So that's cool.
So you came here young.
Yeah, my mom's job moved her here when I was little. My dad stayed in California.
So that's a result of divorce? Your parents?
They were never married.
Okay.
And yeah, so he just like wasn't really super in the picture.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he stayed in California. Me and my mom came out here when I was little. So I've been out here ever since. Me and my dad don't talk anymore. My dad is an atheist, very loud and proud atheist,
Okay.
which caused a lot of fights between me and him and between me and my mom. So my mom raised me in the church. Like ever since I was little, like we did church, we did Awana, we did all the things. We were at church 2 to 3 nights a week. So yeah, I was raised in the church, non-denominational church, but
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up in that environment, which caused a lot of issues between me and my dad because, he was like, oh, my kid is being brainwashed. You're so stupid for believing this. And then I was homeschooled in high school. And so then it was like, you're so stupid. You're never going to amount to anything. He told me I was never going to do anything more than sell French fries at McDonald's.
Oh, dang.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude. Highly encouraging.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it
That's
was a real winner.
rough.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I know, right? Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Thanks, Dad.
Moral support for life.
You're so awesome.
I'm sure that's
Yeah.
had its effects on you.
Of course.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
definitely
I mean,
did.
yeah.
And I think like not having a good male role model in my life, like not having my father really in the picture, created a lot of openings, I guess, for for me to be susceptible to other things that happen in my life and stuff like that. It definitely created a weakness in me and daddy issues, who doesn't talk about that, like trust issues and stuff like that, definitely created that like desire in me to be loved and respected by a man. And so that led into a host of other issues as I grew older
Sure.
because of that. So
How would you say that, in that growing up in that situation? Because interesting enough, I grew up in a very similar situation.
yeah.
My mom, very, very strong believer. Dad, not so much. And he said very similar things in the sense that, like, not necessarily like you're being brainwashed, but he said, be a man that questions things and it doesn't just take everything at face value, be a thinking person in a sense, like
Right.
basically what your mom believes is not thoughtful or mindful. Like, he would even
Yeah.
tell me like, if she wanted me to go to church with her, he would say things like, you don't have to go if you don't want to. It was very subtle. It wasn't like this, but,
Wedge. Yeah.
yeah,
Instant
he was
wedge.
definitely
Yeah.
driving a wedge. And it was more or less like, those kind of people, they're not very smart.
Yeah.
Like they're not, they don't have things figured out. They believe in that hocus pocus,
Yeah. They need those fairy tales to help
weirdo
them
and
sleep
this-
at night.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, that's good for you, comforts you. And so I know that definitely affected my perspective. Like, how would you say that affected your worldview and this idea of the good life? Like, and when I say the good life, and the reason I bring that up is because I believe everyone is pursuing the good life in some way, shape, or form. And I believe we do that because we're made in God's image. But that's true, there are only two directions. It's true in the Godward sense, where, you see that all throughout scripture of like, this is what the blessed life looks like. This is what it means to be a blessed person. Blessed is the man, and you think about how many times that's brought up.
Like Psalm 1.
Psalm
yeah.
1 and Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount. That's how he starts it, right? And so being blessed is really important to the image bearer because we're pursuing things to a particular end. And having that broken home, it really, and when I say broken, I'm talking spiritually broken. You have polar opposites in the house. You have one that's Godward, God honoring, and desires to live a life in honor of the Lord. That looks totally different from the atheist, right? Especially the proud ones. What do they say that atheist walks into a bar and they're atheist because they told you 3 times. It's like that's the proud atheist, right?
Yeah.
They told you, and they may want to make sure they're very clear that they're anyway.
Yeah.
So like
They're
when you
preaching.
think about it, they are preaching. You have that sort of polarizing perspective in your household. How do you think that affected your worldview and the idea of what the blessed life looked like, the good life?
I guess I would say that it was really good for me that I did, even from a young age, I still believe, like, even from as young as I can remember, I believed that the Bible was true, and I believe that God is who he says he is. I don't think I ever doubted those things. I think conversations with my dad and stuff definitely made me, question things a little bit, but also like, dig into like understanding why I believed what I believed and, being able to actually like defend it for myself and not just because I go to church or just because my mom says so, stuff like that. So I feel like I was interested in like apologetics and stuff like that, even like middle school, high school age.
Wow, from a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going to like the Answers in Genesis conferences and stuff like that when I was like 14,
Wow.
15.
Wow, dude.
Because
That's
I thought it
cool.
was awesome because
Those are
like
cool.
I
With
wanted
Ken
to
Ham?
use that. Yeah. Because, I wanted to use that kind of stuff to, argue against my dad, basically,
Right.
But I know maybe it wasn't the best
Right.
idea.
All right,
Yeah.
Dad.
He was
Got
like,
something for you now.
Yeah.
I know, and unfortunately, he was like actually really intelligent, educated man, and so my arguments never stood up. But at least I would say that I was always grounded in that, even through everything that happened and stuff like that, But yeah, it definitely was hard on me growing up, even though he wasn't in the home, he was in California, but it was still hard growing up with like, knowing that like my dad didn't love me, like, like he actually like
Yeah.
disowned me at one point. Like, I can't have a daughter as stupid as you. And
Because
like,
you're a Christian.
because I was a Christian.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
That's rough, dude.
yeah. So,
I can relate, by the way. You and I have a lot in common.
we don't talk
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so it definitely was hard on me, especially like into my teenage years, of just like, knowing that like I wasn't loved by my father and like just always like seeking that acceptance and approval
Mhm.
from, wherever I could get it because I didn't get it from my father. And I mean, my mother is a wonderful, loving, amazing person, but she was a full-time single mom working, full-time job. So it was really hard for her to really like be present and stuff like that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I felt like I wasn't really getting like the like love or attention that I was like needing.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I found that everywhere else that you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's something really important, especially from a father, right?
Yeah.
Like you, and especially for girls,
Yeah.
for daughters. And it's like, my wife talks about that a lot, like how important that influence really is. Like,
Yeah.
especially early on, if the daughter isn't aware of her father's love and affection and protection and things of that nature, to your point, will easily drift off and looking for that in other places.
Yeah.
And usually all the wrong ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely drove me to all the wrong places looking for love. But I feel like it also even was damaging on my walk with the Lord, because, we read in scripture about how God is our loving father and,
Right.
all that stuff. And I was
You project that.
I got no idea what that looks like, like
Totally.
I've never even experienced that. And so it was really
Yeah.
hard for me to even like have a healthy understanding of God as our father and as loving and will never leave us and stuff like that, because, I had no idea what that was like growing up, like actual, like legitimate, healthy love from any man in my life.
Yeah. Did your mom, did she have relationships during that time, or how did that look in terms of
In
the
my
connection there? Yeah.
in my teenage years, she did, and she, has since remarried. And me and my stepdad did not get along at first, but we do now. But they're
That's cool.
believers, like they don't go
Yeah.
to church. They say they believe, but
Okay, yeah.
they're that kind. But
Kind of cultural Christian.
yeah, most of my family is. But in my my later 20s, I feel like me and him got to a good point of a relationship, and now he's kind of a father figure in my
Yeah.
life, so that's nice. But
That's cool.
I was probably like 27 before we got to that point, and I kind of needed
Sometimes
it
what
like
it
15
takes.
years before that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Would have been helpful.
yeah, would have been nice, but
How old were you when he arrived on the scene?
I think I was 15 when they started dating, and I think I was like, or no, maybe I was like 17.
Okay.
And then I think I was in my early 20s when they got married.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So as far as the issue with like the insecurity in terms of, dad not being there and that kind of thing, how would you say, like, I mean, so you're homeschooled in high school?
Mhm.
And not middle school?
No, I was in public school, and I was getting in a lot of trouble. I
Okay.
was starting to, like in like 9th grade, I was starting to like smoke weed and stuff like that, smoke cigarettes, getting in a lot of trouble, which there was stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody knew about that probably could have been remedied, but it wasn't. So I started getting in a lot of trouble, and so my mom was like giving me like options, like you can go live with your dad in California, or we're going to homeschool you. Or so anyway, we did homeschool, which was hard for her working full time. I had to like, be responsible and like actually get my schoolwork done. But yeah, I was homeschooled 10th through 12th grade.
Okay.
So, which is probably the best thing we ever did.
So would you say that was like a stabilizing time for you during that time?
In a sense, it was. There was a lot of like underlying problems going on in my life at the time that wasn't being addressed, but it was at least somewhat stabilizing. I was at least like out of like the public school environment, which was pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Every time public school
Dude, do not-
equals toxic. Yes.
Do not put your kids in public school.
No.
You hear me?
Ever.
Not good.
Absolutely not.
You either homeschool them or find an amazing Christian private school.
Yeah, and even some of those
Do
Amen.
that.
Amen.
are
Yeah.
huge advocate for homeschool.
Do your
but-
research, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard anything
And
good
then
come out of
homeschool.
public school, by the way. I mean,
Dude, nothing.
it had its
Never.
effects on my life, California. I mean,
Nothing
thug
good
life
comes out of public
Jeez.
school.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably would have ended up a lot worse if I had continued in public school till high school, like through high
Right.
school.
I bet.
Ooh. I don't even want to know where I would have ended up.
Do you know how many? Hang on. This is like a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm about to get on my little preaching.
Do it. Pull out the soapbox.
Yeah, thank you. Here's the thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have debated Christians on this very issue where they think it's perfectly acceptable. Saying things like, well, we're sending out little missionaries. No, your kids are being discipled. And they're
Yeah,
not just being discipled by the school curriculum, which is godless, by the way, intentionally godless. Research John Dewey, American pragmatic philosopher. He was a educational activist, intentionally desiring to see what we see today, to strip anything religious, anything, especially Christianity, out of the public school system, to make them, to secularize it is really what his goals were. And it's not just that, but your kids are being discipled by other kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like 7 hours, 8 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So who,
All day, every day.
influence wise, who do you want to influence? Which it doesn't surprise me. I grew up in the public school system.
Same here.
And that was that was the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, I just aged myself, but
And real quick, I would say too, to add to that, I mean, Jeremy was a big part in convincing me, and a particular book, by called Mission to God by Dr. Joseph Boot. Yeah, excellent resource. But there's a chapter in there I read. I'm like, I can't argue against this. Like for me, it was kind of like, well, homeschool is more to kind of shelter from the influence of the kids, and not so much from a theological position, right? Then I came to the conclusion, it's like, yeah, parents are the ones who it's not the state or anybody else. It is the parent that is the one
the parents'
that has the
responsibility.
responsibility to disciple and shepherd their kids in their education.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the education it's not neutral.
No.
This is where people get it wrong. It's like it's not neutral. Education is either going to be Godward or apostate.
Yeah.
And I came to a clear conviction then, and thankfully, the Chinese virus came around and that helped, and I mean I have kids in their 20s, right? And so they were homeschooled too early on, but I wasn't theologically what's what I'm looking for? Convinced, right? Theologically convinced until about 2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, we worked through this stuff together. I was homeschooling my kids and stuff, and I wanted to start a school because of this, how passionate I am about it, and it ended up not working out. But the point of it is like, it's like we are discipling our children, and this wasn't a conviction that I came to not until later.
Yeah.
Right. And so and exactly for the reasons that you're sharing, I remember going home distinctly. It was middle school, going home because it was right when we started taking biology courses. And I'm going home from middle school, and I remember going to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, they're telling me in the school that we evolved from apes. Is that true? I thought that I thought the Bible said that we were made by God. And I remember having that conversation with my mom, clear as day right now. I think about it. And my mom was just like, yeah, that's what they teach, but it's not true, and she was trying to undo this worldview shaping education, and it's, not to distract away from, your story, but I think, when we talk about what shaped our worldviews, and I look at that distinctly as a moment where it's literally almost like a, it wasn't necessarily a overt decision in my mind. It was very subtle, but I'm like, if I'm an animal, well, then I'm going to act like one.
Right.
We're here to hear your story, not mine. But
life.
No, that's fair though.
I went after it like an animal.
Yeah.
I really did. I'm like, well, I'm an evolved animal, so, and I'm just going to return to the dust anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's the way I'll live. I'm going to act that way. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely got a lot of that influence because, obviously, they taught evolution, all that stuff in school.
Yeah.
And my dad pushed it on me, that, Big Bang Theory, evolution, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Trying to, convince me that, scripture was inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that from my dad and from school. And so, there was definitely a lot of conflicting opinions and stuff like that. But yeah, public school was pretty toxic for me. Isn't it Vodi Bakum that says, "Why are you surprised when you said your kids to Caesar and they come back like little Caesars?"
I've been waiting to
Romans.
share that actually. So
He's raising Romans.
Stole your thunder.
yeah,
Sorry.
no,
100%.
perfect. I'm glad it came from you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't be
no, it's
surprised when they're
accurate.
Romans.
Yeah.
right?
Why are you surprised?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And why are you surprised that when they leave the home and they go off to college or they start their adult lives, why are you surprised that they just completely fall off the edge?
Yeah.
That's the way you've discipled them.
Yeah.
I know. And I mean, nothing against my mom, I think she definitely tried to do her best with me, but I think between the negative influences from my dad and the negative influences from public school and stuff that was going on in my life, definitely like set me up for failure. You know, that, yeah, like once I got like to the end of high school, you know, I was like, oh, everything's totally fine. And then just
So
crash and burn.
what did you know? And feel free, you don't have to go into the gory details and all that stuff, but you know, because I think you know to preface this, what's important about your story. We're not here to glorify the darkness, right, and whatnot. I think that's important to realize, you know, especially for those who are going to watch. But what's important to acknowledge is that these were the influences in our lives, right? And that like look at the depth, like because you had this Christian influence, you had some sort of, you know, what I would say a God-fearing mindset in a sense, like that you knew that God existed. You were even in the place where you're like learning apologetics and stuff to defend the faith with your unbelieving father, and it's like there was a passion there, and then like something hit, like it is those trials and tribulations. And I think of what immediately comes to mind is Jesus's parable in Matthew 13 about the seed sower, right? So the seeds, you know, the word of God is being broadcasted, it sets its root in us, but then things happen, and one of them is getting choked up by the cares of this world, or getting burned up because we don't have a deep enough root system. And so like that's kind of what you're sharing is it's like what should have been nurtured through discipleship end up being burnt up or got choked out. So it's like, you know, share that, because that's, I think it's interesting, you know, of the interviews that we've done so far, that has been a common theme where there's this seed of faith that exists, but then it just gets like, and when
Choked out.
when it gets choked out,
Like rear naked choked
real.
out, bro. Wrapped up, everything. No
real.
life left. Like, yeah.
So what did that look
So
like?
it seems,
you know, when you said you went off, like, you know, and again, feel free. You don't have to, like I said, don't
share whatever
you're
with.
comfortable
Like,
with.
yeah, like
I'm like, I don't really think there's any way to like
again,
explain it
things can
without
be
just
edited.
explaining everything, you know?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
A little nervous because like nobody really knows all of this about me, so everybody's about to find out. Hope my mom doesn't watch this.
We were saying the same thing about like our testimonies.
About our
like, there's certain
testimonies.
things I'm like, oh man,
Well,
I was
'cause
telling my
my
wife,
mom-
I'm like,
You know, it's funny.
oh,
My
that's
mom
a-
was like, I don't want to know. I'm like,
yeah.
hey,
I don't like my mom doesn't know anything that I'm about to tell you guys
That's
for the
fine.
next hour. So I really hope she doesn't see this, or we're gonna have a really awkward phone conversation later.
hey, you never know what it could work out to.
You never know, or it could just
glory
be
of God.
really traumatic.
Yeah, well, let's pray. Is it?
So
So you went to the nunnery, you became a nun for
Yeah,
several years, right?
100%. Yeah,
And then
I wish.
She's a nun. Yeah.
what was that quote?
You know Nacho.
Oh,
Everybody knows
Nacho!
Yeah,
Best
of
movie
course.
ever.
All time.
It is.
Absolutely.
Best movie of
Go away,
all
read some
time.
books.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Yes, bonding over that. We need to have movie night now.
Now we
Watch
need a
it.
movie night. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Nacho's the best.
Best.
Oh,
Yeah,
my wife
cigars
doesn't
and movie night.
laugh too much with him. Like,
James would come to that. James loves that movie.
That
oh,
movie
love it.
is our family favorite
Really?
for sure.
I saw it in the
down.
theater. I had to. I'm like, Jack
Oh, yeah.
Black?
Dang.
100%.
Yeah.
Jack Black, like Mexican priest? Like,
Right?
I'm there, dude. Like,
You
Dude,
can't
that's,
pass that up.
Dude, come
that's all I needed to know. I'm like, yeah,
That's
I'm
it,
in.
dude.
That is
It
like
is-
one of my favorite movies.
It
of all
is the
time.
base.
It's
I
the
love it.
best.
He's the best.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, go ahead.
I don't even know what we were talking about.
Well, it was the deep end. You
The
know,
deep
so,
end,
Oh,
so it was post high school, and it was just like, man, here
well,
we go.
So
Well, it was at the top of the roller coaster, and it's like,
When, I want to ask a quick question. Were you baptized like prior to that? Like,
I was like in my late teenage years.
okay.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I was really living like a double life, like through all of like my teenage years into my 20s.
that one's
yeah.
done.
He said,
No worries.
"Good night, guys."
I'm out.
That's all she wrote.
She gone.
Yeah, no more. So yeah, I was living like a double life. So like it was so crazy because, you know, part of me was like on this track of like, you know, I'm serving in the church, like in my late teens, early 20s, I ended up getting on the choir. I was going to New Life Church at the time. I was on the choir, like, you know, serving in the church, going on missions trips and stuff like this. You know, and like it was like almost like half of my life was like on that trajectory.
Yep.
I don't know why that was so hard to say. But there was like another part of my life that I kept hidden. and shouldn't have. And, if it had been addressed, then I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. But basically, I was being sexually abused through most of my childhood since I was probably about 8 or 9.
Dang, dude.
And being like groomed for that purpose.
Terrible.
And that continued all through my 20s and also developed into some drugs, because there was, we smoked cigarettes, we smoked weed, a little bit of coke. And like, I knew it was wrong, but I also like wasn't brave enough to do anything about it or like say anything, to stop it.
It was more like you're just with the people that are doing it. You're just kind of going along with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like, I knew it was wrong. In the back of my head, I knew that it was wrong, but it was like, I didn't know what to do about it. Also, like, it was someone that my family knew and stuff like that. And so I knew that, things would like spiral if they found out and, all those things of like, not that he like ever like threatened me into, not telling anyone or anything like that, but there was definitely the stigma of like, you're going to ruin everyone's lives if you tell them, if you tell anybody. So I never told anybody until like, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I told somebody. And it wasn't even like, I didn't even understand at that point that it was like, I was like molested and raped. Like it didn't even like click. I was just like, this was just like a weird experience that I had through my entire childhood. And she's like, oh, that's not normal.
Yeah,
that's like really not normal. That's really like, pardon my French, but fucked up. Like
that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm even like just now in my 30s, like working through like, oh, I had a really traumatic childhood and like it didn't even like dawn on me how much that like affected me. But yeah, so I kind of had those two like conflicting paths of my life that I was trying to like live both. And, obviously, the one side of my life was a complete secret, and absolutely nobody knew about it. But on the outside, I tried to still be like living the church life and like doing the things, and pretending like everything was fine. And that situation ended in my 20s. He passed away unexpectedly, which then led into his best friend like picked up where he left off. Yeah.
Golly.
No way.
Yeah. And so it started with him. So this guy, his friend, his name was Scott.
Was he a family friend or?
Yeah. Well, and so his best friend.
You can share what you want to share with that, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Both of them were like kind of family friends, situations. And they were friends. And the guy who I ended up being in a relationship for most of my 20s with, this guy, his name was Scott, and he, I knew he had a history with drugs. Him and this other guy had been very good friends, and anyway, he ended up hitting me up after I had just gone on a missions trip like that summer, and anyway, this guy hits me up, and
uncanny timing.
I know.
Always.
Jeez Louise, yeah.
I know.
It's always that way.
It was crazy timing. And we started talking, and anyway, he kind of had indicated that he wanted to go to church. And I was like, awesome. Like, I just came back from this missions trip. I'm like 21 years old. I'm like all fired up. Like, I'm going to bring this guy to church and he's going to get saved and this is going to be awesome. And, I had this, whole vision in my head that I was helping this guy. And
romanticized view of it kind of thing.
Yeah. And like he had just gotten out of jail for trying to kill his ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
This whole thing. He had like attempted murder charges. Anyway. And he was like homeless at the time because he had just gotten out of jail. And so I was like, I'm going to help this guy like get back on his feet and he's going to come to church. And, so I had this whole mindset. And, of course, that's not how that worked out.
Right.
I mean, he did come to church with me sometimes. It's not that never happened, but I thought that by being in his life, I was being like a godly influence for him, and that, I was being the light in his life or whatever. And I didn't realize that it was actually the opposite, that he was pulling me deeper into the sin and the darkness
Mhm.
that I could have escaped from at that point, you know? Like the first situationship had ended. I could have like gotten out of that and like, you know,
Yeah.
tried to heal from it and stuff like that. But instead I was pulled deeper into that.
From one frying pan to the other kind of thing. Like
Yeah, frying pan to the fire, literally. And I was young and I was naive and didn't understand how the world worked yet. So, and again, you know, coming from how I grew up, you know, without my father in my life, without having, like we talked about, you know, how important that love is from a parent,
Yeah.
I didn't have that. And so, you know, I was seeking that everywhere, you know? And so, like, being in this, you know, traumatic abusive relationship throughout my childhood, you know, I was taught that you're only loved if you're giving them something. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you get love. You know, that's what you have to do to be loved or to be cared about.
Transactional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very transactional, which, you know, also is like damaging for how your understanding of God's love is and
Big time.
all
For
that.
sure,
But,
yeah, of
you know,
course.
that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, so yeah, I was in my early 20s when me and Scott started. We never even said that we were dating or in a relationship because he didn't want people to know that we were in a relationship. But, you know, we were just doing drugs and sleeping together for 5 years. So,
Wow.
but we weren't in a relationship.
But you didn't want people to know?
Yeah, he didn't want people to think that we were together.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Just weird? Nah, well.
Just, I don't know, crackhead.
Correct.
He was also a lot older than me, too.
Okay.
Probably
some of that.
16 years older than me.
Okay. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
An age gap, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it wasn't long into that. I call it a relationship, you know. It wasn't long into that relationship. Obviously, you know, we started sleeping together because that's all I knew. And I knew that he had a history with drugs. And at first, like, you know, I didn't really see it and wasn't really around it. But then it was only a couple months before I knew he was on drugs again. And it was kind of like that, you know, I had a little bit of experience with that world and stuff, but I was like curious and,
Sure.
you know, of course, one thing led to another. And I started smoking meth with him when I was about 21 or 22. And yeah, that was like really like the tipping point of off the cliff for
Yeah.
me when I really went from trying to like go to church, serve the Lord, stuff like that, to just living for myself, living for the world, for sin, for whatever made me happy, and not giving a darn about anything else.
Was meth kind of the instant hook for you? I know some people like I smoked meth as I was a kid, but for me, I was able to put it down, and like amazingly, every one of my friends got hooked on it.
Yeah.
You know, was it like an instant? This is it. Love this stuff. Like,
Yes and no. Like it was, but it wasn't like at first we weren't doing it like all the time. It was like on the weekends, you know, we'd go out and have fun.
yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. It wasn't until a couple years later that I was like addicted. In my mind, it was more of like a slow progression into that addiction.
Okay.
But yeah, it started out slow. Just, you know, like we were just, you know, smoke on the weekends, have fun, screw, you know, like, cause that's what we did. But it was definitely, I was definitely like slowly becoming more and more addicted to the meth, to the sex, like to all of the sin that was going on in my life at the time, and just addiction even to that lifestyle, you know,
Sure.
and just like wanting that lifestyle more than the life I'd been living before.
And a lot of that stuff goes hand in hand,
Yeah.
right? Like meth's a super sexual, you know, type of,
Yeah.
you know, drug as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely very hand in hand for me. And which the really weird thing was, even during all of that time, I still was like going to church, not regularly, but sometimes.
Hit miss.
Yeah,
Still,
like sometimes not super frequently, but yeah, like I would still try to go to church and stuff like that, and to breathe. Ironically,
Really?
I was a member at Breathe through this whole time.
Dang.
Wow.
Because okay, hang on, I got to do math. I became a member in 2014, so 11 years ago.
Whoa. Okay.
And I'm 33 now. So I think I was 22 when I came to Breathe.
Whoa.
So yeah, it was like I had just started doing meth.
Right.
Obviously, all the other stuff had already happened, but like, yeah, I had just started doing meth when I first came to Breathe. In fact, ironically, I was high as a kite first time I ever came to Breathe.
I remember hearing that story.
Dude.
I was
Yeah.
up. High
Just
as a
like,
kite.
Wow.
Cruising
That's a trip.
in, loaded.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And yeah.
We're doing church today.
And it was Easter Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Hey,
Fourteen.
it's Easter.
Different pastor at that time.
Different pastor at
It's
that
Easter.
time.
I should probably go to church. Let's do some meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, and like there was a whole thing that happened the night before that, yeah, we were like high as a kite.
Wow.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? It's Easter. We should go to church. And I had
Dang.
gotten kicked out of my living situation because of him. And so I was like living in my car and trying to find a place to live. And it was, so backtrack, it was a little bit before Christmas. Somebody from Breathe I knew, or somebody from church had said, my kids are looking for somebody to live with them, a young couple, and they're looking for a roommate. You know, you should go talk to them. And I was like, I've never even met these people. This is really awkward. But yeah, I went over there. They were a super sweet couple. And like, you know, they were like, where are you living? And I was like, my car. And they were like, stay here. Like,
That
just
is-
Wow.
get your stuff, bring it inside. You live here now.
that is the
Yeah.
Lord's protection.
They were wonderful.
Wow.
You probably don't know them, but Phil and Brittany.
I never met them.
Phil used to be the worship leader at
Okay.
Breathe. At the time, he was.
Wow.
And yeah, they were wonderful people. They had a little baby girl. And then, yeah, you know, after I moved in with them, they were like, you should come to our church. Because I wasn't going to church at the time. And I was like, I just met these people. I don't want to go to their church and like not like it. And then like it's awkward.
And then turn them down and be like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
so
not going there.
I put it off for a couple months, but then I was like, it's Easter.
Still live here though.
Still live here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Still-
finally was like,
food's
it's
great.
Easter. I should go to church. And so I went to church that day and obviously fell in love with it there and never left. But, you know, it was definitely just a different environment of like being loved and, you know, accepted by people for more than what I could give them, you
Sure.
know, and, you know, even though it was in little doses and they knew nothing about my life, you know, and stuff like that, what was going on. But yeah, it was still just so refreshing to be around people who just genuinely loved the Lord and loved me.
Mm.
And so I always like felt like I had a home there, you know, and I always felt drawn to that environment. And I would try really hard. Like I'd be like, I'm going to church this weekend. I'm gonna get clean, you know, I'm gonna like quit smoking like this many hours a day. It's like to go to church and not be like jacked up.
Yeah.
And sometimes that didn't work out. And sometimes I was pretty jacked up going to church.
Yeah.
But I tried really hard to not be super high, but you know. But so I have this theory that drug addiction is like modern day demon possession.
Interesting.
I don't know if y'all have ever heard that theory, but
No.
I am fully convinced of it.
Yeah.
Because during that time, especially towards like the end of my addiction, like I felt like I had no control over my life, over like my choice to get clean or not.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like it was like I had to go get that next bag of dope. You know, I had to go get that next high. Like I had no choice. And
Well, you're a slave.
yeah.
You're a slave.
And-
Yeah.
And like it made me think of it because during that time, like when I was going to church and I'd be super jacked up, I remember I'd be sitting there and I just hear like buzzing in my ears, like sitting at church. And I remember it was especially bad whenever someone was praying. Like somebody from the front would be praying at the beginning or end of service or whatever. And I couldn't even close my eyes because like the buzzing was so loud in my ears, I would get dizzy.
Mm.
And I'd like
Wow.
feel like I was going to fall over. I'd get like disoriented. And so I'd like keep my eyes open and like look at the ground or whatever, you know, while they were praying. But like I would hear this buzzing so loud in my ears that I couldn't even hear what was being said.
Interesting.
I couldn't even hear
Wow.
the prayers like every single time.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so I'm like, I 100% believe that it's
There's some
modern day demon possession. Like,
or like some sort of influence, at least oppression.
You're
It could
inviting
be-
some
like
evil
some
stuff into your life on
seriously
drugs. Yeah.
demonic
100%.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it's 100% associated.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you for sure. I've always thought that.
Yeah.
super occultic.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
and-
mean, if you think about it, like, not to get off track here, but like, where did drug use even come from? It was typically associated with some occultic practice,
yeah.
you know, and pleasure. You know, the end game was this life journey discovery pleasure thing, you know, and going back to the original defining the good life, you know, coming up with your journey, and so defining who you are. Think about it, like all these trips that, you know, people want to go on with, like ayahuasca and peyote and all these other things, right? What are those oriented around? One, trying to solve for the demons in your life. Meanwhile, you're inviting them in.
Discoveries of sorts,
Right.
right?
And
Like,
it's a
Yeah.
discovery thing. Exactly. And you're
discover yourself,
healing
discover
and
life, and
spiritual
Yeah.
healing and restoration and all stuff,
Get
right?
to know yourself.
But what's wild is like you get
Gay
lost.
stuff.
You get further from knowing yourself.
yeah.
You inviting more demonic influence into your life. I mean, and it's this vicious cycle, downward spiral path of destruction that we know for those who've been involved in it. I certainly have, you know, obviously you have, and I know Greg has. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've watched people go fully to the path of destruction, never come back from it, and in some cases
oh
died.
yeah,
They died. You know, I lost close friends to that stuff.
I get most of my friends prison. You know, one guy I gave a line of meth to, who was younger than me. He looked up to me like as an OG kind of thing, and like this dude 5 years later shoots somebody point blank in the neck,
Dang.
murders him, goes to prison, ODs at 40 years old. You know, just gone.
Dang.
It's like what? And like
Yeah.
he was somebody. It's like that's why I asked that question too. It's like, were you hooked immediately? Because that all my friends, like high school, all got hooked on meth.
yeah.
Every last one of them. Yeah, it's nuts.
And I feel like it kind of was for me, but I feel like it was also like a two-sided coin because, like, you know, from my upbringing, you know, I was like addicted to sex already. And then that played into meth, you know, because those go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So it was like I was addicted to both.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so it went hand in hand. And so it
Yeah.
really played into me becoming more and more addicted to the
Which
meth.
I was just going to say, that's the vicious cycle I'm talking about, is that one begets the other. You have the one and you want the other, and then you want both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and then it creates this insatiable demand where it's like, now, like, you've discovered this, you've experienced this, and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper because you're trying to even achieve what you first experienced, and that has now lost its you know, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Not vitality. but-
Novelty.
yeah, well, and not just novelty, but there's you know what I'm talking about, like especially with drug use,
Potency.
and sex.
It loses its potency too.
Yes,
with
that's
drugs.
it. Potency.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what ends up happening is you go harder and harder
Need
and
more and
harder
more.
into those things, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Trying
trying
to find
to
that first time.
exactly, and you'll never, and that's why it's so vicious. It's so destructive. But
My ex actually told me that when I first started doing dope with him. He's like, you will always be seeking that first high and you'll never find it.
mhm.
He
So you
actually,
first started doing it, he's like, hey, not just I'm
Yeah,
here to
like
break it
at
to you.
that-
You might feel
at
awesome
that
right
first
now.
time, yeah, like,
Hey, you'll never
Those first
achieve this
few
ever
weeks-
again, but you'll want it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're going to be looking for that your entire life. He also told me that he had a theory that once you're addicted, you're never not an addict. Like you'll be an addict for the rest of your life, even if you're like, you know, what do you call it, in remission or whatever.
Sure.
I mean,
Like,
it's so untrue, but it's
that's-
unbiblical because
You're
Yeah.
as such for some of you, but you've been washed, cleansed, you've been
yeah,
given
and you're a
Yeah.
new creation.
new
in
creation in Christ,
And
new
I-
mind, new heart,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if I hadn't gotten saved, you know, if God hadn't pulled me out of that, then yeah, that probably would be true.
It's true.
For an unbeliever, yeah, I could see how that's totally true.
100%.
It was
Yeah.
for him,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
but you know, a
Yeah.
little bit different for me, I
Right.
guess.
Do you
Thankfully.
think like okay, so here you are now, the relationship, meth, sex, this kind of stuff. Do you think that was like covering or masking a lot of the things that you mean from the, you know, molestation, this kind of stuff? I mean, did that kind of help suppress that stuff during that time, would you say?
Maybe, I mean, yeah, it almost like played into it, you know, because, you know, being like groomed sexually, you know, my entire childhood,
Yeah.
it was like that's, you know, I was like groomed for that. So it was like that's like what I thought my purpose as a woman in this life was, you know.
Mhm.
So it was like, I
found the
started,
meaning. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like that was my meaning and purpose, like that's what I was supposed to do. And that's the only way I was ever going to feel loved or appreciated.
Which goes into that transactional relationship thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And everything was for me. And, so I started sleeping around a lot in my 20s, a lot. And, and it seemed like I thought that was like the right thing, like I thought I was like making myself happy, doing what I wanted to do. Like this was cool.
And that's encouraged by our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's funny. Okay, here's this really interesting, and I'm sure you've experienced this. And even in sharing that, like there's like this hesitation, like, oh my gosh, like people are going to hear about this. What's really interesting is like that is blatantly celebrated in our culture and encouraged. But then it's funny. You share it, and all of a sudden it becomes this like faux pas thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you did that. Oh,
I watch it in a movie,
I know,
it's
right?
normal, and TV shows it's normal, but
Yeah.
somebody's just,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, yeah, I just went hard after it, bro. I just went crazy, and they're like,
Oh,
whoa.
dang.
I can't believe you did that. Meanwhile, they're watching all those movies. They're
Right.
encouraging it. They're listening to the music, right? And they're just like, yeah, dude, this, that. I'm not going to go into it. But what I'm saying is like most of our society is geared towards promiscuity
yeah.
and encourages it. Like I can even look back at
Like, sow your wild oats.
right. I mean, early on, I had a girlfriend in high school, right? And it's like family members are telling me, hey, dude, like, whatever with her, it's like, I'm serious. I'm going to marry her. That was like my attitude, which was it was the right perspective, right? And they're like, no, go hard, be a Lucy. It's like, just go as hard as you can, do,
like
to your
you're
point about,
you're young, live it up.
yeah. And then you'll settle down and find, this one, not realizing like, and then you're going to do that. And they're like, bro, what's the matter with you?
And you won't have the FOMO, the fear of missing out kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Like,
what? Such a evil
YOLO.
and wicked mindset.
Right, but it's kind of like this downward vicious cycle, right? Like here you are stuck in this loop. What is there anything else in there that you feel like this is really important to the story of like, where the Lord met you in terms of because I mean, all the stuff you're talking about, it's like I'm waiting for that moment. You ever watch The Chosen?
yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I like it. Okay, full record. I like it because again for certain reasons. But what I really like it for is the way that they tell the stories.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories is Mary's, like in the beginning, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's like tearjerker. Yeah, both my wife and I are just crying on the couch, just watching it, and I'm like, what? And the reason why I love it so much is it gives that backstory of like Mary growing up and then her father's influence. Of course, none of that's in scripture. I know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I can hear you right now.
It was all.
But what they're doing is telling a story.
Canceled.
Yeah, done.
One
They're
star.
Like, oh,
1 star.
I did subscribe, but like, done now.
Yeah. Whoops.
And I'm telling everybody about you.
These guys like The Chosen.
Do not follow them. They're of the devil. Anyway.
1 star. 1 star. 1 star.
Yeah, 1 star.
Spam in the 1 star. 1 star. 1 star.
Yeah.
1 star.
reviews
On
all
all
day.
8 of your YouTube accounts.
Right. Yeah. And ones we don't have, just in case. You know?
You never know.
Yeah. So they give this background. I love that. Like, here's her father's influence in her life, was very godly influence, and she has this relic of her relationship with her father, right? And then she goes off the deep end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like full demonic possession. She's, and she's caught. She's stuck. She's trapped in this world of alcohol and sexual promiscuity, and she's basically a prostitute, right? And so, like, here she is, and I love the moment when he calls to her. And he's telling her, he's like, you're mine. Like
Isaiah 43:1.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And it's that passage that like she grew up with, and it's like, it was so impactful. And I'm like, dude, I love that. And the reason why is because he's saying, look, like, I've known you since you're, this, and I've been with you this whole time. And now I'm calling you out of that.
Even through all your garbage.
Yeah. And it's so powerful. And even she slips back. Like, she goes back into this, she falls back into it again. And he goes and finds her. And, the disciples do. I love that. They're like, dude, where's Mary at? It's like, go get her. Yeah. I love that, how they tell that, because, well, of course, guys, I know it's not, I know. I know it's not in the Bible. Okay? I know what you're saying. The point of it is that we experience that it's relatable. We've had to do that. People have had to come after me. I've gone after people, if you think about it, it's the Lord's calling. I mean, we're reformed, right? We're reformed. So it's like, we know we're the elect. We know that we're going to persevere. And the way we experience that is how God providentially comes after us. He leaves the 99 and he goes after the one. And that's kind of the way your story is coming across right now, is it's like, here's this one that's straight off, straight jumped into a ditch and is in this vicious, cycle and stuck in it. And it's like, here you are, it's like, I'm waiting for that in your story. I'm like, this is going to be cool. I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I love that episode because I feel like it's like mimics my story basically.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Like when I first saw that, it was maybe like not even 2 years after I'd gotten clean. And I just remember I just like bawled and started like sobbed.
Yeah.
Like just, because I was like, oh my God, that's
I totally resonate with that. I feel the same. It's wild, like how like I'm like, I see my story in that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, that is so
like,
powerful.
Creepily.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on about those years,
So here you are,
but
cruising to breathe.
Yeah, you're breathing.
You're never, you never got excommunicated.
Yeah.
no,
You flew under the radar
I
somehow.
even moved away for a year because this guy moved up to Michigan
pastors?
and I chased him.
Hello.
I'll never forget the time when I think we were camping and I was talking to Teresa and I told her some of this and she goes, wait, but you start going to breathing this year and I met you in this year. And you said that was, you could see like the gears turning. She was calculating and I was like, like she put the pieces together. And
They're like, maybe she's a little hyper, man. Like maybe she's paranoid at times, Maybe she,
Nobody ever knew.
she doesn't sleep. I mean,
That's funny.
Yeah,
kind of a
I didn't sleep
thing.
for and I lost a bunch of weight and
Yeah, right.
Yeah, nobody except for the people that I was doing drugs with and sleeping with, nobody else knew. Like I've told some people like at church and stuff like that, some people know some parts of my story. My family still doesn't even know.
Wow.
Really?
My parents don't know that I did drugs. They don't know about like the sex and all that
No
abuse.
way.
They don't
Okay.
know none
Wow.
of that. So that's why I'm like, I really hope they don't watch this.
So you're right. This is
Yeah.
going to maybe provoke some conversation.
right. They'll be like,
Yeah.
It could be a good
Yeah.
thing, though. I mean, you never know how the Lord's going to use that. So we
yeah.
really do pray. Like it is my heart. I know it's our desire that this,
For sure.
that these interviews are not only just a blessing for Christians to watch and to see how someone can just be totally called out of darkness into the light, but also to realize, like, and we were just sharing this with our last interview, Bob, the Christians need to be merciful, man. Like,
Yeah.
we really need to be a lot more long suffering and merciful with people who are just wrestling with the darkness and going through tough stuff. And again, we can't ever presume upon to say this person's in the faith or not, outside of just saying, hey, like the things that I've shared with people who are wrestling with tough stuff is just to go, outside of examining your heart, I don't know whether you're in the faith or not, right?
Right.
If you're going through the stuff you're doing and you're doing the things, you can't necessarily say you have a hope in Christ outside of that. The Lord will call you out of these things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He is faithful.
Like what I mentioned earlier is like younger Greg, first born again, like from darkness to light, right? Like all these vices like gone and stuff like that. Where
Yeah.
our brother Bob shared a different story. It's like a few years of like alcohol and drug abuse, that kind of stuff. Like I remember my earlier years, if I were to hear somebody drop, an F-bomb or something like that, I'd be like, oh dude, like this
Definitely
guy.
not.
This guy is probably maybe not even the faith kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I look at that
hard.
now and I'm like, that's just it's a crazy view and it's
Yeah.
a legalistic view is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sanctification, man, I mean, it's like a stock chart, but that
is a
stock
stock
chart over the course of the years is going like this.
with a
But
couple
shit
of Great
haven't-
Depressions in there.
yeah, exactly. It's gonna have that upward trend, like it has since the beginning. But I mean, it's gonna have the Great Depressions, boom, 29, 08,
Yeah.
kind of thing
Yeah.
at times. And it's like, man, people just Christians need to be gracious to one another, and
Yeah.
especially people coming into the church and knowing that people are struggling, going through things.
Oh yeah. And I pray, and this is actually something I really love about Breathe, is I sense that there's an environment where people
Grace.
who are going through that,
Oh yeah,
they're going to err on the side of grace. You know, I see
Yeah.
that. Like both my wife and I sense that almost immediately since we
Oh,
started
yeah.
going there.
Same here.
I'm just like, I just love these people, dude. Like,
Yeah.
these are my people, man.
I
My
came from a
wife
church
said
that lacked
first
a
thing.
ton
She's
of
like,
grace.
these are our people.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Same thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, might
Yeah.
not agree with everything 100%, but
No.
we came from somewhere that lacked a bunch of grace.
Right.
And coming and then
Yeah.
going to breathe, and it's like
Yeah.
breath of fresh air. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. God's all of a sudden have a son that's talking about baptism and
Which is amazing.
and healthy relationships come alongside discipleship. It's like,
Yes.
isn't that how this is supposed to
I thought
kind
that
of
was
be?
how it
I
was
thought that's
supposed to
how
go.
Christianity is.
That's
yeah.
how it
Right.
worked, right? We should
So-
be, loving one another. You know, the Lord did
Weird,
say
right?
that He would know us, the world would know us by our love for one another. But I share all that to say, like, your what's important about your testimony is not only is it an encouragement to Christians to share the faith, that they would step out and be bold to realize the Lord's going to call people when He's going to call people, but we're called to be a witness, a light, to stand firm in the truth. But in the same sense, Christians also need to hear this because they need to be encouraged.
Oh yeah.
Do you realize like how many of these interviews, like just going through them, how encouraging they are? That I'm just sitting here just blessed, just blown away, just so encouraged by people's stuff. So don't let it discourage you away from sharing these things because whether it might spark some tough conversations with people who don't know this stuff.
Might.
You know what there are? I guarantee you there will be, because our channel is going to grow. What's going to happen is there are going to be people on the other side who are listening to and going, I'm right there. Maybe I'm living the double life. Maybe I'm wrestling with this stuff. Maybe, and the Lord's going to use these things in these people's lives or inspire someone to go share. You never know, like how the Lord's going to use this and use your story to go, whoa, like I'm no different from this person and there's hope
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
There's hope for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we want to kind of do a part 2 of these interviews down the road, which talks about that path of sanctification. Now that you're a Christian, has everything been awesome, right? Has everything been
Yeah.
perfect? It's just like immediately glorified and glowing? No, it's like,
No,
you're
some
like
darkness, man.
Yeah.
There's been some darkness there.
Yeah, a little bit,
tough, right? I mean, but look at like, what you can honestly do. I guarantee you, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just to be an encouragement. I know I can do this. Even the tough stuff, the wrestlings, the failures, the struggles. One thing I can say is that like I am a different man now than I was a year ago.
Yeah.
A few months ago. Like there's changes. I can see that. I can see the, Francis Schaeffer called them what do they call them? Signposts. There are these signposts throughout your life where you could see how the Lord was providentially at work, and he would say, weaving us into the great tapestry of His grace, right? Just this beautiful tapestry that is once and for all going to be put on display in Christ, right? For all eternity. That all of our stories somehow are intertwined and He is providentially at work in every one of our lives. Like he will accomplish the ultimate end. It's the Romans 8:28 factor, right? That, we have been, foreordained to be justified in Christ, to be sanctified, and then to finally be glorified. Like that's
29, yeah.
that's an assured guarantee.
Yeah.
And He went to the cross with great joy, knowing that would be accomplished in us. So don't let that discourage you away, but encourage you, even though maybe it's like,
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
like, oh boy, here we go. Now I see
Yeah, I
what you're
know.
like, yeah, full throttle.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh man, okay, here we go.
it's all or nothing,
Hey,
and
So here you are
fine.
now in church. You've been going to church for a while. And now you're opening up and like Sister Teresa and you're in the church. That's cool. Yeah. So she's like putting some stuff together. Like, so is that when you started kind of revealing kind of your life at that point in time with people? I mean, you're opening up more, or is that?
Yeah, I feel like in the last couple years, I've started trying to open up and talk a little bit about things that happen, but I don't think I've ever really talked about all of it. So probably more stuff I have to work through, but
Sure, yeah, of course.
it's kind of never ending. But
So you're in this vicious cycle,
yeah.
and what happened?
Well, it was kind of like a rock bottom for me. But it was like definitely like a slow progression into that. I became more and more addicted to the meth, more and more addicted to the sex. and even like addicted to this guy in a sense, because he was my source of those things.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely started sleeping around a lot. He actually ended up moving out of state to Michigan because he was getting in trouble with the law here. But so I ended up following him and like left my family and everything, moved to Michigan with this guy.
How long ago is this?
2015, so about 10
Okay.
years. And I was only up there for about a year. And then I quickly realized that was a poor life decision and ended up moving back home. And when I moved back home, I was like, you know what? Like, he's gone. He was my connection to that. Like, I'm gonna get clean. I'm gonna turn my life around, right? That didn't happen.
Scott was your prophet, so to speak.
Yeah.
Connected you to the idols.
Yeah, he really did. And about maybe 3 months after I moved home, he came back too. And started right back where we were, only like tenfold.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
so, before Michigan, I felt like, we were just doing it like sometimes, it was just kind of like on the weekends to have fun. But after I came back from Michigan, so this was like end of 2016, like fall of 2016, it got to the point that like it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner was dope, like all day, every day.
Wow.
And I was not sober a moment from like fall of 2016 until the end of 2017. Like there's like a year and a half that I just was high the entire time, and
Oh, boy.
I don't remember much of those years.
Whoa.
A lot of it
Wow.
is just a blur because I was so high
Wow.
that whole time.
So I mean,
Oh, boy.
you're probably were you probably like only sleeping during that time when you're forced, like when your body just could not take
Yeah,
anymore?
like,
Then you like
I'd
you're
sleep
sitting
maybe
there and
like-
just boom out.
I'd sleep maybe like once or twice a week. I wasn't eating much. I lost a bunch of weight.
That's crazy.
Ironically, I was still working that whole time.
What?
I was a functional meth addict.
Dang, bro.
What were you
Yeah.
doing for a living at that
I
point?
was working as a CNA at the nursing home, and I managed to work up until late 2017.
You're like, give me everybody who can't speak and
Yeah.
is sleeping all the time. Those are the people I want to watch.
She's
It-
like, hey, I'm up all the time anyway. So
Yeah, I know, right? I might as well work 12-hour night shift at the nursing home, because I'm not sleeping anyway.
Wow. Man.
Yeah, and it got to the point that like I couldn't even make it through a 12-hour shift. I'd have to like go out to my car and like
Get your fix.
smoke a bowl, and like
Incredible.
I'd be so sketched out that I was gonna like get caught, right? So I'd be like in the back seat, like all crouched down on the floor.
Oh man, what's Karen doing down there, dude? Yeah.
Because I thought I was gonna
You're on the
get
floorboard of the car, and it's
caught.
like,
yes, and it was
dang.
nighttime, so I was like, they're gonna see like the flame of my lighter, and
Yeah.
I'd be all sketched out, crawling around on the floor of my car or in the trunk of my car, so stupid.
In the trunk too.
Like I need to.
Dang, bro.
Dang, that's a dang bro moment. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's,
that was-
yeah.
Looking back, like
Hanging in the trunk.
Yeah, you're pretty deep into it at that point.
yeah, like I couldn't even make it through a 12-hour shift, and like. And yeah, I'd be up for days and I'd do crazy stuff. Like one time I got all paranoid that, the cops were after me or something, that, they were going to find me and stuff. And so I like had read it somewhere, something that like the smoke from meth pipe sticks in like your walls and stuff like that, right? So like 3:00 in the morning, I'm up there with a Swiffer mopping my ceiling
Yes.
in my apartment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm straight up like,
Makes perfect sense. Right?
yeah, like I was like, I'm
Right.
gonna get this smoke.
They're not
out of
catching me, dude. Nope.
Yeah, they're not gonna catch me totally being jacked up and mopping my ceiling.
This isn't
but
awkward at all. Like this,
Yeah.
there's nothing to see here.
This
normal?
is so
Yeah.
normal. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
Swiffer my ceiling at 3:00 in the morning.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so
Well, we
there
had
was
our
a
friend
lot of-
Eric. There's a video with Eric, and Eric was carpeting his walls. And if you didn't see that part,
I didn't get to that part.
okay,
No.
yeah, you're gonna want to check that one out.
Yeah.
Eric was carpeting his walls.
Yeah, there was a lot of really dumb stuff that happened during that time, but some of it's funny, some not so much. Looking back, but
There's a sense to when people watching this. It's like, especially our interviews with people that we know. It's like we're laughing and stuff like that, but it's not like it's not a laughing of a glorification of sin. Like I don't miss it. I know the people that are here don't miss it, and we're not
No.
like
yeah, no,
that's a glorification. If you're
Yeah.
like speaking of it kind of in some nostalgic
yeah, like that
way,
was so
like
awesome.
those were the good old days where
No, those
Ecclesiastes would say,
Definitely
that's
not.
not of wisdom you're saying these things, It's
We
like,
laugh at them because they were folly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I laugh
Yeah.
at how freaking stupid I
Right.
was.
Right.
Like how stupid
Swiffer
you
in
gotta
the freaking
be.
ceiling, like, yeah. And 3 a.m. of all times.
I know,
Well,
yeah.
one thing funny about Eric's story that like really is like, so not only is he on a mission to carpet his whole trailer, ceiling and all, but like he gets fired from his
Awesome.
job from like because he was losing it,
Yeah.
and just some negligent thing, lost his job. He gets a check. He finds a check in the mail, and he's like,
And
"Oh,
a stack of like bills.
Bills.
Checks his mail after like forever.
He
Stack.
yeah." He thought he was like done. Like, and then he found a check, like his final check in the mail.
Yes.
And what came to his mind? Not like I need to pay rent or I need to get
Food.
something to eat or whatever. He's like, I need to finish my carpeting project.
Gotta go buy some carpet.
He had a project to finish.
Yeah,
He's like,
you
that's
know,
like, bro,
yeah.
I had a, and not only that, so what's even funnier is like, he's like, bro, I was doing it by candlelight.
Right. Because his power his power was shut off. Right.
I love that so
See?
much. That's
Guy was
hilarious.
committed.
great?
He was committed.
And okay, so
Yeah,
if you haven't heard
no.
that, I'm gonna save it. I'm not gonna steal the thunder, but there's a I'll let you watch it.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and watch. I
I
watched like, the first half of
mentioned
it.
to him like, bro, because I knew Eric was in with me in my darkness in my life. I'm like, all right, bro, wasn't there? You were an inspector of sheds of some sort.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Just leave it there.
I think I've seen
Cliffhanger.
some of
You
it. I
have
gotta
to
watch
watch.
all
You
of
have
it.
to listen.
Shed
to that.
Story. Go watch it, guys. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Shed
Yeah.
story.
So
Anyway,
Oh yeah, no, it's
so here we
yeah,
are
it's
on the
funny, but it's
floorboards.
not funny to like look back and be
crawling
like,
around the floorboard.
wow,
We're,
you're
we're
so
mopping our ceiling.
stupid.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'd like hear voices and see shadow people and all that. So like one time I thought there was somebody in my apartment.
Shadow people.
I like tore my whole apartment apart looking for the shadow person, that I was so sure that there was somebody hiding in my closet and
Whoa.
like
Oh, yeah.
tore my whole apartment apart,
Yeah.
legit thinking there was someone in my house.
Yep.
Like, I mean, looking in like nooks and crannies where like obviously a person isn't going to fit into this little.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
I searched the whole house.
Yeah.
So you,
For, like,
you were
days.
thinking people are following you.
Oh yeah. I'd always be sketched out that like the cops were after us, SWAT team was after, which actually ironically one time me and my ex had gone to our dealer's house and left, and then like I think a day or two later we found out that like basically like right after we left, his house had gotten raided by SWAT and he went to prison.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Dang.
And like I don't know how long it was after we left, but like we had just seen him. Like, yeah. And so then of course, like then after that, me and my ex were like all paranoid that, SWAT was following us, but they hadn't like, actually like come to arrest us yet. But like they knew they'd been watching us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, we were all sketched out. We'd be going out hiding in the woods, camping in a tent in the woods, like trying to run
Hiding
from
in the
them.
woods.
We straight up, we like had a tent and we'd be running around in the woods, like,
Oh, man.
yeah, all over Pikes Peak National Forest. Like,
Really?
every inch of that forest, we'd be just crawling all over, getting high.
I mean, I bet even that though, like being in the dark forest at points in time, probably had some fearful things while you're out there, and it probably tripped you out even more, right?
Oh yeah, I'd see shadows. I hear voices, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh man, yeah.
And like sometimes you get like a glimpse of like a light in the distance, like a headlight or something, and you think it was somebody with a flashlight coming after you, and like we just live like sketched out in fear for months at a time.
That's
like
wild. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. But somehow I still held a job through all that. I still don't really know how I did that.
Wild.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
Yeah.
pretty
I don't
crazy.
know how I still made it to work and everything.
Right.
I've always messed with tweakers. Okay, like I know Jeremy has, because I had they're my friends, right? And like
Right.
just recently, I would say recently, within the last few years in my house. I won't mention the guy's name, but he comes to my house all spun out.
I think you told me about this.
Did I tell you about this?
I think so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just share it now that I'm bringing it up. But like here I am, like in my maybe I'm in the basement, like doing some wiring stuff. My basement's complete now. Right, so
Okay.
homeboy's here, and I'm looking at him, and like he's talking, he's being like lucid in his speech, and like because I know this guy, I'm like, all right, he's using. And so within a matter of minutes, and G2 is there helping me out.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to him, and this other guy that spun out, and I'm looking out my window. I'm looking at him, and I'm going, I get up and I walk over the window. I go, who followed you here, bro? And then he's just like, what, dude? Like he walks over the windows and he's looking and this and that. And I go back to my business. I'm doing my thing and he's tripping. I'm like, all right,
Dude,
come over
it's
here, bro.
It's so messed up too, especially when someone's
Yeah,
spun
yeah.
out.
If you're coming over here, it's on. I'm at least
Oh, we're gonna have some fun.
I'm gonna laugh. Yeah. And then later on, my wife feeds him, and we're hanging out, upstairs, and then, You probably heard the story then, huh?
I think so, yeah.
So, okay, so yeah, we're upstairs, you know, we're eating, and then you know, I do the same thing again. I walk out to the window and he's sitting there tripping, and then I go to the door and I go, yeah, he's here. And I shut the door, boom, I go back to doing what I'm doing. He's like, who was that? And I'm just like, oh, just some guy looking for you, bro. And then and then like I let like 5 minutes go by and
really funny.
I'm like, nah, I'm just kidding, bro. No, nobody's here. And then about another 10 minutes goes by and he goes, hey, was the guy that came to the door, was he Mexican?
Even after he told him it was Noah.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, I was just kidding, dude. It's like stuff
totally
like that. It's like
man.
tweaker stories.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's sad.
Oh, man, I would have been so sketched out if you
It
did that
is
to
sad.
me. I probably would have run for the hills.
It's really funny.
And I love that guy too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dearly.
I love this guy that I'm talking about. In a
Christmas
sense,
people.
it's like, yeah, the Christmas people were always there.
Yeah,
Thousands of them, by the
thousands following.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
So anyway,
Yeah, no, I definitely was that kind of person. I definitely would have been sketched out by that.
So what you must have come to a point, Karen, sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're in church. You're hearing the word, and God. And I know God's word gets through in the midst of even the most twacked out, you know, mindset and drugs and all that stuff. I mean, what was kind of the culmination for you?
yeah, how did it?
It's weird because I had to hit a point of rock bottom before I saw God actually reaching out for me, you know, which obviously he was orchestrating stuff that whole time, but I really hit a rock bottom before I saw any light. So the downhill slide started probably about 3 months before I got clean. So this was like September of 2017. My cat died, and I assumed that God blamed me, or, you know, that he was punishing me for, you know, the life I was living.
Mhm.
And I was angry at God, ended up quitting my job. I don't know how I didn't get fired or lose my job, but yeah, no, I ended up quitting my job because I just couldn't do it. I was just so angry. And then those 3 months, I just started spiraling into, like, I was already like high all the time, but I just started like spiraling into like just being super jacked up all the time. And it just got worse and worse. And then like I felt like I kind of tried to like hold it together because like Christmas was coming up and stuff, you know, and like there was stuff going on at that time that I was like trying to pretend like everything was fine. But then I remember after Christmas, there was that weekend between Christmas and New Year's that I was not okay. Like, so I'd quit my job, so I had no income, so I couldn't buy dope, you know. So I was like running out of money. I didn't even have like $5 to put gas in my car. And I was so angry at God because I blamed him because, you know, he let my cat get killed. And that was like just so important to me. And that was like the only thing I had in my life that was good at that point, you know. And he took that from me and he was like punishing me for, you know, the life I was living and all that. Anyway, I was just so angry at God. And I remember just yelling at God. I remember sitting there on my couch in my apartment and just yelling at him like, I hate you. How dare you do this to me? Like, I hated God. I was so angry at him. And it's weird because I never even like, it never even dawned on me that God like wasn't real or didn't exist. Like I still knew that in the back of my head from like my childhood. But like in my mind, it was his fault that my life was out of control like this. Not my fault, of course, you know.
Right.
But yeah, no, I was just so angry at him. And I said, I hate you. I want nothing to do with you. How dare you do this to me? I was just so pissed. And so, yeah, I was doing a lot of dope during that time. I was drinking a lot of other stuff. And there were several times during my dope years that I should have died or should have gotten arrested. Like there were several times, like I like blacked out at the wheel a couple times, like got in some fender benders.
Dang.
Twice at least. I like blacked out behind the wheel because I was so high and hadn't slept in days. And like,
And woke up from an accident.
yeah, and like rear-ended the car in front of me twice.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
A couple times I got pulled over high as a kite, should have gotten arrested. Like there was a lot of times like that, but there was the last time, it was that week between Christmas and New Year's, and I was super high, and I dropped a meth pipe on the floor, and it was hardwood floor in there, and it shattered, and I was pissed, and I was picking up the pieces, and I remember just like looking at one of the pieces, and like that demonic voice in my ear was like, you could just, slit your wrist and just bleed out. I lived alone. Nobody would find me, I'd definitely just be done. And I was like, that sounds like a pretty good solution. But I was like, I got to go get super high first if I'm going to do this.
No.
So I went and got high as a kite, and I blacked out. I don't know if I fell asleep or what, but I blacked out. And I woke up the next morning, and the glass was gone. I guess I like picked it up and threw it away. I don't know. But yeah, like the broken glass was gone off the floor. And I had smoked like basically my entire supply. So I was like out of dope at that point because I tried to get so high to like kill myself.
Whoa, dude.
And yeah, so I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not killing myself today.
So blacking out was a grace.
Yeah, like I don't know what happened. I don't know if I like cleaned up the glass, threw it away, and went to bed. I don't know. But yeah, I just woke up the next day and was like, oh, okay, guess I'm going to do something else now.
Like in your mind, looking at it, I mean, were you like dead set serious kind of thing?
Yeah. Like I was like going to go get high as a kite so that at least like I wouldn't feel it as much,
Yeah.
And like, I was like, if I'm going to do this, like, might as well get high.
From a third person perspective, what that looked like.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's like, you're so out of it, you don't even know. And it's like the Lord's like, all right, let's go night-night now.
Yeah.
I know, like literally
your consciousness,
put me to bed.
Yeah.
I'm shutting it off,
like,
dude. Boop.
Here you are in like autopilot doing all these things, dude, just from a third person.
I know, right?
Meanwhile, like the Lord's
Like Click, the movie.
Okay.
Seen that? Click.
let's go to bed now.
Fast forward.
Okay,
He's
no,
like,
you're not going to do that. Let's go to bed now.
And you're going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite literally.
Wow.
What a grace.
Yeah, and so then like I'd smoked my whole stash, and so I was kind of like forced to get clean because I didn't have any money to go buy dope, and so I like spent another day or so just like getting drunk, whatever, and then I ended up going to my mom's house because I was hungry, because I was starting to come down, and I was like, oh, I'm hungry. I haven't hardly eaten in a year and a half, so I was like, so I was like starving, so I went to my mom's house because I knew she'd feed me. And I think I stayed on her couch for like a day or two, just like sleeping all day and then eating all night, like that
What's
kind of
wrong
thing.
with you, Karen? I'm just not feeling good.
I know, yeah. I'm just really hungry and really tired for no reason. I don't know how they didn't figure it out, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I said that, yeah. What's wrong,
Yeah, like,
what's wrong with you,
what?
Karen? You're not, I'm just sick, then we're good.
Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's totally fine.
You're sleeping for 2
Super
days
hungry.
straight.
I legit,
Really tired.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
slept all day, was up eating all night. And then it got to like the second night of that. So this is fast forward. It is New Year's Eve now. And like the morning of New Year's Eve, it's like 3:00 in the morning. I'm at my mom's house, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm not getting clean. I got to get some dope. So I text my dealer, and basically I was going to sleep with him in exchange for some dope,
Yeah.
because that was the only thing I could offer. I didn't have any money. And so I was like texting with him. I was going to go over the next night, and it's like 3:00 in the morning. And I distinctly remember I was watching an episode of Family Guy. And I like went outside to smoke a cigarette because obviously my mom wouldn't let me smoke in the house. So I went out and I'm sitting on the front porch at my mom's house like 3:00 in the morning. I'm smoking this cigarette and I'm like thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go over to this guy's house, and like he had some connections, some other people I could sleep with to get drugs from too. And I'm like thinking through all this stuff. And I just happened to look up at the stars. I've always loved the stars. I'm always one of those weirdos. And I'm like, ooh, look at the stars. It's beautiful. So I look up at the stars and I just, I'm never going to say that God spoke to me because, obviously not scriptural. But I definitely got this like, premonition or something. Something said or told me you were made for more than this.
Mm.
And that was it. That's all, that was the great, revelation or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, like, no, I'm not, like, whatever. I just like went to bed and I didn't even think anything of it. But then I woke up the next day and I don't know, something was off. Like I couldn't text him back. I couldn't text my dealer. And I was like, I don't know what to do. But like, I was worried that my parents were going to catch on. So I left their house and I was like driving home and I was like, I want to go home because like, my dope stuff is there. my pipes and stuff.
Your paraphernalia.
Yeah, all my paraphernalia. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I was literally just like driving around in my car on the $5 of gas that my mom gave me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what to do. So anyway, I reached out to somebody from Breathe, a lady that no longer goes there, but went to Breathe for several years and was a friend of mine. And I told her everything. Like, nobody knew yet. And I literally called her and I was like, I've been on meth for like 5 years. I need to get clean. I don't know what to do. Can I come over? It's like afternoon of New Year's Eve. She's like, yeah, like me and my family are just like hanging out. Like, just come over. So yeah, anyway, I went over that night and stayed on their couch for like 2 months.
Wow.
Just like sleeping on the couch at their house,
Wow.
sleeping all the time, eating everything, getting clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really great time.
Your body's like,
Yeah.
Restoration.
Starving for everything. Yeah.
Right, like, this is weird. What is
starving
this?
for sleep and food. It's just like,
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was really just like
So
sleep,
detox.
sleep, eat.
Straight detox for you.
Yeah, cold turkey. And
Wow.
yeah, I stayed with her for like 2 months and I ended up, getting another job during that time. And then,
They were super gracious to you during that time. Huh?
yeah, and they were just, super loving and supportive and, just not like shaming me and stuff like that and not being like, oh, you need to get your crap together, like,
Yeah.
no, they were just like, yeah, you can stay here as long as you need, like, we'll help you get through it. She even like went over to my house and like helped me clean up my paraphernalia and throw everything away
That's so cool.
so I could like move back into my house. And then just a couple months later, I got asked to join the worship team at Breathe. Like I started, after that happened, me and her started going back to church, or, she started bringing me to church. And so I started going back to church regularly. And then, yeah, after a couple months, there was some stuff with the worship pastor leaving and we needed somebody to play on the worship team. And they were like, Karen plays guitar. Karen sings. They're like, you want to sing on the worship team with us? And I was like, I've been clean off meth for 2.5 months. Sure. I like tried to like push it off. I was like, I don't know that I'm ready for that. But they were like, Tina was really insistent. Like, I need you to sing with me. I need you to sing with me. And so
Yeah.
started singing on the worship team.
That's how the Lord does it.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I just like kind of jumped headfirst into that. And
It's funny, like on that note, like it just reminded me of my experience. So I was selling weed I lived on a fraternity row at a college campus. And I was selling weed to all these guys all the time. And especially my favorite group of meth heads, like that I had a little group there. And they all lived on the fraternity row too. Like, and born again. And literally within the next couple of months or so, one of the guys was like, hey, Jeremy, like you live on fraternity row? Yeah. He's like, you mind if we do a prayer meeting at your house, like on a Friday and then go out and evangelize fraternity row? Nice. And I'm like, yeah, I guess like that's what we do. Christians.
So Christians do,
We're
right?
Christians now, right?
Come
and it
in
was
faith,
kind of
share
like,
the
that's
gospel.
the same kind of thing. I'm like, I guess that's what I'm doing, man. I'm going to go evangelize all these people I used to sell weed to.
yeah,
It was this, it's like,
it's awesome though.
this is awkward. Yeah, but it's like, hey, you need Christ, man.
You know what you don't need? You don't need a bag of dope. You need Jesus.
Well, what's funny too is like, I mean, there were people that were still hitting me up, right? And I'm out there evangelizing. It's like, oh, this is Hey, bro, listen,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian now. I don't
Darkness
do that
to
anymore.
light.
Well, I was like, I'm a Christian. I don't do that anymore now.
Yeah.
Well, and the crazy
And by
thing
the way,
is,
here's a track. You need the Lord, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the crazy thing is, my dealer never hit me back up. Like I just like ghosted him, and he never
Interesting.
hit me back up, never
Just done.
texted me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think if he had, I probably would have like,
Stumbled.
gone back to that.
Mhm.
But he never hit me back up because I'm not going to lie. When I got clean, I was not about it. I did not want to get clean. I was pissed. I was mad at God. I was like, I don't want to get clean. I love my life. I got it all figured out right now. I don't need to get clean.
I like
Yeah.
being the pig in the mud, dude.
Yeah, I was rolling it.
That's
I was
sweet.
loving
Levels.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all about that, and I didn't want to get clean. That's why I like coming to Reformed Faith was so easy for me because I was like, oh, I 100% did not want to get saved. Like he dragged me kicking and screaming the whole
Right.
freaking way. Like, yeah, I was not about that life, but yeah, he somehow orchestrated it that those connections like fell away. Like right before that whole thing happened with me getting clean, me and Scott got in like a huge fight and he left and we didn't talk for forever. And yeah, so he just orchestrated things in just the way that I was able to get clean. And then ended up getting a job at the hospital. I worked at the hospital for 6 years and went through nursing school, got my RN license, worked at the hospital as a registered nurse and serving on the worship team within just like a couple years of
Wow.
getting clean off dope. And then taking care of
Man.
people at the hospital that, were like
Yeah.
living that lifestyle.
So
And
you've
how
been
long-
clean since 2017?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how long has it been
yeah,
since now?
December 2017.
So almost 10 years now. That's crazy.
Praise
Going,
God. I
think
you're
8
going into
years.
9 years. Okay.
And
Yeah.
no like relapses or anything?
No, and I quit cigarettes
That's a
probably 6
grace
months after.
Of
Praise
God.
God, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Big
never
time.
went back to it. And I quit cigarettes like 6 months after and never did cigarettes again. I mean, now I
Awesome.
like drink on occasion, for just like having a
Sure.
drink,
Yeah, of
not
course.
getting hammered.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I don't really even struggle with that so much anymore. Like, yeah,
Which is great. So you were able to get rid of all this stuff, hard drugs, meth, whatever, and then
and
so
sleeping around.
yeah, all
Yeah.
that, and then like so you can drink to the glory of God and drink in moderation.
Yeah.
Which even that
That's a grace.
some people can't do that. And it's
They
like,
can't
that's a
touch it,
grace
or
of
else
God.
they'll just immediately, it'll
Yeah.
be this like opening up the floodgates to debauchery again.
They're
yeah.
drinking. Next thing
Yeah.
they're buying cocaine,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Like,
It's like our boy Hyatt.
Yeah,
dude.
no.
It's like, you go to a bar, you meet a girl,
meet a girl.
you get a beer,
AIDS. These are our I always I'm crossing it in my head right now, but he's our Armenian friend, not Armenian,
Armenian.
but from the country of Armenia.
Yeah.
You know, I saw Babylon B. It says Calvinists are planning on bombing Armenia. For Armenians.
That's really funny.
Oh my gosh.
So that's Hayo's our buddy. Yeah.
So we're running low on light, as you can see. It's getting
Yeah, it's
darker.
getting there. Dang.
But no, I think this is a good place, like to just. So one thing I like to do at the very end of the interviews is think about like if there were someone on the other side of the camera, right? They're watching right now and they're listening and they're thinking about your story, because it's pretty amazing. Like you think of an amazing grace story, right? That's the Lord's grace is just abundant in your life for the last 8-9 years, right? And how amazing that is, and just to see where you came from and where you're at now is cool. Like what would you say to someone maybe who's wrestling with something similar or can relate to your story and is fighting or maybe struggling with the prideful issues or whatever it might be, that really maybe what you think that they should hear or what they need to hear, what would you encourage them in? Because I'm sure you're not alone.
Now that
Yeah.
you've come back from the dead,
Yeah, quite
No
literally.
longer roaming the tombs.
You're no longer in the tombs
Quite
anymore.
literally.
You've come back from the dead. What would you
Yeah, what would you say?
encourage? Like people are going through that stuff, struggling with addiction.
I mean, I would say like, being a meth addict, being a sex addict, being, addicted to all these things and problems in my life and sin. Like I 100% thought that I could never come back from that. I thought like, this is my life now. This is who I am now. Like, I think even
Your
if
identity.
I think even if I had wanted to, I couldn't change that.
Mm.
And I, fully believed that, firmly believed that. And so, I wasn't even looking for like a solution or an answer. But God was looking for me, even if I didn't want him to be at the time,
Right.
and he said, no, this is not your identity. This is not who you are. And we're going to change things. And, it started with, obviously, getting clean off meth was overnight, but like, some of it, like the heart stuff was, longer term work,
yeah, I bet.
like, even to now I'm still working through some stuff,
Sure.
I bet. Of
but,
course.
I didn't think that there was any life outside of that. And I couldn't see the future or the life that God had for me. I couldn't see any glory coming out of that, anything good coming out of that. But God saw it and he knew the whole time. And, it just took me, I think, surrendering in a sort of way, just saying, okay, like, I guess this life isn't really working out for me. This lifestyle is kind of literally killing me. and
Yeah.
all right, like, fix it, if you're going to fix it, God. And he did. And, whether I was a willing participant or not, it's still a jury's out, but, he can do incredible things, and, obviously he did in my life. I went from being a, meth addicted sex addict to, being a nurse and being on the worship team at my church and,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And,
Seated and clothed in your right mind.
We always say that.
Yeah.
weird,
He
right?
came out of the tombs, seated and clothed in his right.
You know, when the
Quite
demoniac,
literally.
The demoniac.
the
yeah.
demoniac,
Yeah, yeah.
where the Lord cast the demons out of the legion, and then it was like everybody were marveled because there he was, seated and clothed in his right mind.
So it's 'cause
Yeah.
seated and clothed was what he was not.
He was not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just funny that those
He
things.
wasn't neither of
and
those
he definitely
things.
wasn't in his right mind.
He
Yeah.
is seated and clothed,
Yeah.
and he's
And
in his right mind.
You guys knew old boy was walking around naked.
He was
Yeah, he
dude.
was.
That
He
fool
was
was
cruising
cruising around the
the
tombs
tombs
naked, dude. Who's the naked tombs guy? Oh,
breaking
man.
chains. Nothing could hold that guy. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
tripping.
quite literally nothing.
Well,
yeah, I
we,
know. I definitely relate to that story a lot. And that's why I always relate to that episode of The Chosen. Like,
Yeah.
I love that because I felt like I related to her so much in that,
Mm-hmm.
just, like things happened to her that were out of her control that, led her down that path, and then,
Yeah.
the demon possession and the drinking and all the other problems that she was experiencing, and like it got to the point that she was like, I can't do this anymore, and there's that one scene where she's like looking over the cliff, like you think she's going to jump, she's
Yeah.
like thinking
Yeah.
about killing herself. And then, something stops her, just like something little stops her. And, she goes back but she's still like, just like complete, like despair, hopeless. And then, she meets Jesus and everything changes. And, he says, I have called you by name. You are mine.
Mm.
And I felt like, that was so similar to my story and what happened, where he said, you've been told for years that this is your identity. Your whole life, you've been told that this is your identity, but it's not,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to give you a new identity, a new name, a new purpose, a new meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get teary eyed at that episode. I'm like,
Me too. Oh yeah.
yeah, cause I'm like, that was
Oh, yeah.
me. Yeah. Out of
And
darkness
then the
into
Nicodemus
marvelous light.
scene.
Oh yeah. Nick.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Who
That was
doesn't
an
ball through
awesome
that
one
one?
too. Yeah.
Well, we I can't tell you how thankful I am for you taking the time to share that, and I really do pray
Big
and
time.
hope that it's a blessing to many people as this channel grows and as the influence of the channel grows. I hope more people watch this and go, man, like I see me in that story. There's hope for me, and that in a way God providentially uses it in people's lives. I hope that these stories really come through as powerful as they really are. Really,
Yep.
we are all, in a sense, walking miracles. Like the Lord is still in the business of transforming lives, no different than he was when he started calling people out of darkness in his ministry. We are part of a long history of the Lord at work doing miracles, the miraculous. And so, yeah, thanks so much time for your sister. We appreciate you.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you
Praise
ever think
God.
there's a miracle, sheesh.